You're getting programmed by society. The government has decided to program a lot of people because they don't question their thoughts and they just believe everything that they see on the internet, everything that they see on the news. And the news is meant to keep you dumber and stupider
and distracted.
So you don't go after your dreams and aspirations. When did you realize that you did not want to go the traditional route of going to school and just getting a degree? Nothing wrong with that if that's what you want to do. Entrepreneurship is not for everybody. But when did you realize, like, the traditional route is not for me?
I realized that the traditional route was not for me since I was like 16. I was talking to you the other day saying, like, honestly, I would never felt called to any career. I always liked the idea of fitness, but I wasn't fit. So I thought, okay, I have to learn more about this so that I can build a career out of fitness. So I started all that when I was like 14. But when I realized I did go to college for 3 years, spent a lot of money on that. Thank you, Mom and Dad, for supporting my dreams at the time. I realized when it was just a waste of time. I was not really learning the things that I wanted to learn, and I was paying on the side to a mentor thousands of dollars to learn the skills that I wanted to learn. And on the other side, I was just stuck in school in a system that was pushing me to a graduate school or like PhD in the future in order to actually execute my career. So everyone that graduated with extra science degree, they were going to grad school to be physical therapists, occupational therapists, and all this. And I didn't want that because that meant 4 more years of schooling and more money and more time just to chase a dream that was really not mine, but an idea that I thought it would look good for my parents and my grandparents, you know?
Yeah, the American dream. And I don't think anything is wrong with like the traditional route per se, because you need people, you need doctors, you need people that do those certain jobs. If the Lord has placed a dream inside of you or a thought or an idea of something that you should build, I think you should listen to that feeling, that conviction of building something different. But a lot of times people don't go after it because they have fear and they can't overcome the fear of what people will think about them, what their family is going to say, what their friends around them are going to say. And then that stops you. Because think about it, 20, 30 years from now, if you didn't make that decision, you're going to probably regret that you didn't take that chance, right? You can always go get a safer job. You can always go get a 9-to-5 and, you know, make a certain amount of money. Those jobs are there. So I think it's just realizing like, okay, well, I'm just going to go after this rather than live a life that I'm not happy with.
Yeah. And I'm Dominican, if you don't know, something that I've also said a million times. But the Dominican society, it's very materialistic, very classist.
Would you say is the same as the American society though? What are the differences? Like when you say
so many differences. Like,
okay.
I'm going to give you some context if you don't know. Dominican Republic is a very small country. It's an island, and everybody, it's so nosy. Like, they care so much what people are doing, what school you go to. Like, I remember as a kid, not really caring, you know, about how much money my parents made, where I lived, the car they drove, until I, like, changed schools to a little bit more expensive one. It was bilingual, Christian, private, and all this. And there were a lot of rich kids. Yeah. But I wasn't necessarily one of the rich kids. I was just someone that, you know, my parents made an effort to have me there, and we still have a great life. Very thankful for the life that I had as a kid, but definitely not like, oh, we have a couple houses in the country, in the mountain, in the beach, in the lake, and you travel every summer to camps and stuff like that. That was not me. So there, the kids were always like, what car does your mom have? Do you know how much money your parents make? What job is your dad a business owner? Does he have a job? Kids were so nosy. And then I remember starting like to compare myself and my life to other kids' life. Yeah. You know, like traveling a couple of times a year. My family would travel. We would travel, but not every single year. And then like toys. I played with anything. I was a kid. I mean, I had a lot of toys, but I was really happy with the Barbies. And then in this school, everyone loved American Girl dolls. American Girl dolls are $115 dolls compared to Barbies that are like $10 to $20. So then I started wanting that, and I had one. I appreciate my mom for getting me one, and also my sister, but I had friends that had 10. Yeah. And I remember as a kid just thinking like, why does it matter so much? I think the way that I grew up in, like, you have to look good, you have to prove to others that you have money, you have a good house, you have a good car. Compared to here in the US, you can go to the grocery store wearing PJs and nobody freaking cares. You could be making 30K, 40K a month, and still like nobody really cares about it. And then there people are making like 2K and they're bragging, like trying to buy things that they can't even afford.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's how I feel about it.
For me personally, I was more in the suburbs, I would say. When I went to school, like my friends were rich. You know, they already had cars at a certain age, 17, 16. You know, so looking at my friends who had money and going to their houses, there's a sense of comparison, like, dang, you know, why don't I have this? Why don't I have that? The older I got, I started to appreciate what I had because I saw how hard my mom was working. So in my head, I was like, all right, what can I do to be able to like help her out? And like at 17, I just knew I did not want to do what everyone was doing. I would always say I don't want to work for the white man, but I knew I just didn't want to go the normal route, rack up a bunch of loans, and just work and retire when I'm 65 and just keep paying bills. So it would always spark to my idea, and it sparked in my mind. After I got out of college, that's when I really started my business. And two, when you see your parents working so hard and it's like they're not getting anywhere per se, it's like they're making money, they're taking care of us, when we appreciate that, but it's like nothing is changing really that much, you know? And if you want to be rich, not just financially, but having peace,
Purpose, fulfilling life.
Yeah.
Like you can die and just know that you did what you need to do.
So that's gonna take you growing out of your comfort zone, and that comes at taking a risk, doing something different. And if you haven't seen other people around you do that, you're gonna have to do something different if you want something to change. I remember Sister Tiana was talking about that today.
Shout out to Sister Tiana.
Yeah, you have to be the one that says that. Okay, well, it's gonna start with me.
Ends with me and starts with me. Like,
yeah.
End of trauma, end of addiction, and start of a legacy of wealth or of peace, of love, of whatever it is that you're trying to build. Someone has to be the one who owns it in their family. Like, okay, it has been this way for years, but it ends with me. My kids are not going to grow up the same way that I grew up, or my kids did not see me chasing my dreams, so I'm going to chase my dreams. If your kids grew up seeing you not chasing your dreams, then why would they chase their own?
Yeah, for sure. It's the actions.
But if you go for it and they can see the example just straight from their parents, then they're going to believe more in themselves. So it's just like building a stronger generation.
How do you think generational trauma impacts how people are being programmed? That's a deep question.
That is a deep question. I was not ready for that.
It's okay. Like the generational trauma that people have, how do you think it impacts them being programmed?
I think they just get so used to the life and the things that they've seen that it becomes normal. So if they were, mistreated, maybe even abused or whatever in the house, like it just seems normal. And if you've never experienced true love, then you get used to people screaming at you, people even like hitting you and not controlling their emotions. So then you attract that. So speaking about like relationships, let's say if you had really aggressive parents, maybe they would hit each other, they would physically fight, then you think that's normal because then you see them having dinner and stuff. So it's like, okay, that happens sometimes, but they still love each other. And then subconsciously you also attract that into your life. And then if a guy mistreats you, you think it's normal and you accept it because that's what you saw. So now your brain is just so used to it that it doesn't know any better. Yeah,
I agree. And the part of rewiring your brain, it all starts with making a decision, because you have to stop blaming other people at a certain point in your life when you get older. Oh, it's because I was that way. Oh, it's because my parents did this. Oh, it's because I was abused. No, you have to make you have to make a decision like, all right, well, even though there was alcoholism in my family, even though there was addiction in my family, even though there was abuse in my family, I'm going to be the one that actually goes seeks for healing, right? I'm going to actually go to Jesus. I'm actually going to go to therapy. Maybe my family is fat. No, I'm not going to be fat. I'm going to work out because I want to change things going on. My kids are not going to be fat. My kids are going to serve the Lord. So you got to make a decision. Whatever trauma happened before, you got to make a decision that you're not going to carry that on further. And I know we're just having an open conversation, but I want to go back to why I brought the Dominican culture. It's because you asked me how that impacted my career or whatever. And what I wanted to say with that, it's
I really wanted to show that I was capable of, like becoming a physical therapist or like having a degree. I studied in the United States and it would just make my family's name look good.
Yeah.
And then I got tired of it. I was like, why am I doing things to prove others when I already know my worth, when I already know my value, when I know who God says that I am? And I was brave enough to tell my parents that I'm dropping out of college. So I was like, I'm literally doing this for them, even though they thought it was for me. I made up all these stories basically that I really wanted that, but deep down, I did not. I really didn't feel called to do any of what my peers, classmates were called to do, and I felt out of place and just felt like I was stuck, wasting time, wasting money, wasting energy. It was just...
Yeah.
It was a good season. I learned a lot about myself and I'm grateful for it. And I have great memories from it as well. But I'm also glad that I had the courage to drop out, because a lot of people, they chase a career that they did not want just because they're scared to walk out or to tell someone that they want to change paths.
I think that speaks to what's repeated to you. Most likely you're going to act out. And the people that are around you, they do love you. Like your parents do love you, but they're speaking to you from their own experience. And what they're saying to you, they believe that's the right thing. It may be the right thing to them, but doesn't mean it's the right thing to you. So which is why you have to also examine like, well, what do I want? And are these people that are in my life, no matter how close they are to me, friends, family, do they have what I want in life? Has God called me to be a doctor, a lawyer, go to school? Has God called me to do that? If the answer is no, of course it's going to ruffle some feathers if you go and speak against what they want you to do, because it's not aligned with how they think, but it's aligned with God. And a lot of times when God calls you to do something, it may be aligned. I'm not going to say maybe. It is aligned to your specific path and your specific journey, but to others, it might be in misalignment. So now if you're in misalignment with God, you don't have peace because it doesn't feel right. Something is off.
Thanks.
When we're in alignment with God, you have peace, even though there's chaos around you.
I love that, because I've gotten a few times from people around me that, oh, I hate how you're using like God as an excuse that he called you to do this. I'm like, how do you know what God has called me to do? And I want to ask you, babe, like, how can someone know when it's God's voice and not their own? Because I truly felt in my heart what was my calling since I was 16, like I said, and I kept trying to fit into all these things that, parents and grandparents have expected from me. But how do you know that God is calling you to do something and it's not just you playing this in your head?
First starts with, what's your relationship with Christ like, right? Are you reading the word? Are you going to church? Are you praying consistently? That's the most important part. You can't say you have a relationship with somebody if you guys don't spend time together. That's not a relationship. That's just wishful thinking. But then if you spend time with that person, you're going to understand them better, understand their character, right? How they talk, their mannerisms. So in order to know if it's God speaking, you have to spend time with him. Because the more you spend time with him, you start to understand more of his character and what he desires. And his desires become your desires. Then you're in that alignment with God. That's the only way if you're going to know if God is the one that's truly speaking with you. You spend time with him. And then when you spend more time with him, you can discern when there's distractions around you, when the enemy's talking, because you know what God is saying to you individually, personally, because you're in your secret place. So it all starts with having the relationship with Christ to be able to hear his voice. If there's no relationship, you can't hear his voice. It doesn't mean you don't have spiritual leaders around you. You do, but are they also walking with Christ? What does their relationship with Christ look like? So that's what I would say. Need a relationship with Christ. You need to spend time with him to hear his voice clearly. All right, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you share this with somebody. You like it, you comment, you subscribe. Follow us on Instagram, Coach Tata.
Louisa Tata Fit.
God bless you and peace.